But imagine marketing as a means of not only building a message through a product, but sustaining an audience through that product as well. Digital businesses and digital services can do that, and then now expand the brand in ways and reach customers, reach users who you wouldn't be able to reach otherwise.
It's time for Brands in Play, the podcast about immersive marketing. I'm Albane Prioux, Insights and Partnership Director at Geek.
And I'm Nick Hill, co-founder and chief innovation officer at Sawhorse.
This week on the show, YouTube changes its creative payout T&C, and it's a win for humans, which is great news. The gaming influencer creator economy is shifting. Meta also invests in Luxottica, and a new cosmetic brand, GodMode, targets female gamer audiences.
And then we're talking to Joe Pace, VP of ASICS Ventures, to chat about ASICS' new eSport game, DISC, on the MetaQuest. And we'll talk about how the brand's strategy is moving into gaming.
And don't forget, if you like what you see, please subscribe, review, and drop a comment with the hashtag #BrandsInPlay. Let's dive in.
Let's go. Albane, what's up? How are you?
I'm very well. How are you? How's your week been?
Busy week. There's a lot of things that we're working on that I can't talk about. So I was struggling to figure out what to say. For me, the thing that I'm interested in is I played this game, Marvel Snap. It's a collectible card game that's mobile based. And they do a great job of funneling all the Marvel IP and live ops updates into that game. But the new Fantastic Four film is coming out, and they've already pumped all that new character and new IP into this card game. So they do such a good job of integrating that.
Okay. Are you I'm not a big, I've never resonated with the Fantastic Four franchise, and I might get trash about it, but it's the least exciting Marvel, in my opinion. I'm the least excited about it.
Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic. Stretchy arms. Nothing wrong with that. He's a cool character.
Know. And I think it's maybe it's the same for Captain America. I don't like he as much. Yeah, there's a few Marvel ones I'm not as excited for it to come back to life. But yeah, let's see.
It's a period piece. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I agree with you. Fantastic Four is not at the top of my Marvel list, but I have respect for them. What was up with your week?
Well, I was on a holiday for the first half of this week, so it's been quite, this is my first day back in the office, so quite good, to be honest. I was in Paris. It's always incredibly busy, but also very excited to be in Paris and visit family. So nothing to report, to be honest. This is day one for me, so not much to report on work news.
It's a low-key week. I'll take it. Most of these weeks are super chaotic, so this is awesome.
This is perfect. Should we dive to the news?
Let's go to the news, because there was a lot of cool stuff happening.
Yes,
and
there
let's
was.
go check it out.
Okay, so my first news is YouTube that has changed their monetization payout T's and C's. That essentially, if you look into the details of things, is actually going to impact the AI made videos, which I thought was really interesting. So this new monetization policy is coming out in July, so next month. Well, actually, no, sorry, this month of the year, and it is going to impact essentially content and channels that are pumping the same content made with the same AI, and it's going to negatively impact the channels that have mass-produced content with very little value. Little human impact, meaning that are all made with AI. And I thought that was really interesting for YouTube to actually do that, because you would I don't know, you would imagine that if it is capturing attention, then why not promote it the same way as any other creator channels, because at the end of the day, all that the model of the platform is that as long as it's good content and people are coming back and there's attention, then they can monetize ads. But I thought it was a really bold move from them, and really reassuring in the way that they want to prioritize and promote and incentivize human-made content that are still generating value. And I wonder if other platforms like TikTok, which we know are very heavy on the AI stuff, are going to do the same. And to me, that was just like a really positive note that we're still going to, I guess, reward creators for human-made creativity, or at least that has been shot themselves. So I just thought that was like a really good piece of content, and also something to for brands to remember, where supporting creators, partnering with creators, and also building your own content is still incredibly valuable. And I'm just really excited to see YouTube taking a stance, because I think it could be very much a race to the bottom on the quality of the content, and then people will ultimately get fed up with that content and want to crave something that feels like you're talking to a human being and has been made with character, and then might go to another platform that is only human made. So I just thought that was yeah, really good. But I don't know if you saw that, but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are.
I didn't see that, but that story makes me very happy. I love to hear that. I definitely feel like we're moving in a direction of, AI being able to do so much for us and replace a lot of creatives for what they do. And I don't want to live in a world where everything is just AI generated. And I don't
Yeah.
think anyone else wants to either. So, and I think, you know, I don't want everyone to go out of business. And I don't think YouTube does either. So I think this is an
Well,
indicator of,
exactly.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I think there's so much brain rot that someone can consume until like you completely go mad. And I'm just really excited to see that YouTube is, putting stands and putting creations, essentially creating things that is not going to incentivize people to just create over and over again the same thing. So really a differentiator to what we see on TikTok. And I think that's the downfall of TikTok, is that it's just a recycle of the same video, and when AI comes into play, then it starts becoming quite repetitive, and like there's not much like creative fuel that goes in those platforms sometimes. So I'm just really excited that YouTube is doing that.
I'm here for the creative storytelling and the human element. It's the backbone of all creativity. So
Exactly.
I don't want to see that replaced. So my first story is all about how the concept of video game streamers kind of broadening out. So going from traditionally just being in front of a computer screen and streaming out gameplay and getting tons of views
Hmm.
to becoming more of these sort of cultural leaders,
Yeah,
like influencers in a much broader sense. So getting
absolutely.
out, stepping away from the screen and into society, and these becoming like big influencers that people are following. So the article I read really dove into some examples, and I think like 100 Thieves is kind of cited as one of the first movers in this space, and taking an esports team and becoming mainstream culture. But since then, there's been a lot of pioneers, like this dude David, who was a Fortnite streamer and turned into like a big musician that's been touring. We got Valkyrie, who was a streamer that moved into fashion and beauty, and she has this sort of cosplay couture and
Also part
makes.
of 100 Thief.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, they definitely see the understanding of
yeah,
this and they're pushing it. And then, the other example would be I Show Speed, which
of
is a
course.
streamer, is also like a performance artist. And I just think it's exciting because it really just shows how, so much of young attention is around gaming, and our new celebrities and new people we want to follow are these people that are connected to this culture. And you
Absolutely.
can do so much more than just sit and watch a TV screen, a game screen. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and I think we forget sometimes, like Mr. Beast or even KSI here in the UK, the Cyberman, that there's a lot of really big influencers that are PewDiePie. Like some of the largest influencers in the world, like started in gaming and gaming communities. And it's what we talked about for a really long time, which is like gaming is mainstream culture, and it's no longer this like niche passion that people have. And I think what a lot of brands sometimes, brands, and I think people in general don't understand, is like it is enjoyable to watch someone else watch video game. And I think it's that concept that a lot of people can't like put their head around. But there is a huge market of brands that are partnering with these influencers because they want to tap into a specific gaming community. And maybe before you want to create your own game or a huge IP partnership, doing something with influencers is actually the best way to get involved inside that community. And you're absolutely right with, Valkyrie and 100 Thieves. They really understood that from the very beginning, where they went more the lifestyle route, and seeing how those gaming influencers can then tailor their content and their lifestyle to also do something with a more broader set of brand that's not just the typical, hardware or FMCG brands, but actually branching it out. So I
Yeah.
really excited to see more brands doing those kind of partnership as well.
And one example of that is recently, I just saw in the news today that State Farm is leaning in. They have their reality TV show, Gamerhood, and they just partnered with and are planning on bringing on Kai Cenat, which is he's like
Like,
the biggest, second
yeah,
biggest Twitch streamer in history.
exactly.
And yeah, it's just State Farm gets it. A lot of people get it, and I
Yeah.
feel like these are the celebrities of the future.
Oh,
So
absolutely. 100%. Like Mr. Beast, like now is, it would be an insult to say that he's an influencer because a YouTuber, sorry, because while he started there, like now it's like it's their full brands and
driving culture.
exactly driving culture. My next story is actually on Meta investing in Luxottica. So they've invested in a state that is nearing the 3%. So based on the valuation of Luxottica, that's around 3.5 billion. So really interesting for them to see that they are investing in Luxottica. For those that don't know, I mean, Luxottica essentially is the eyewear manufacturer that Luxottica makes Ray-Bans and a lot of different eyewears. So it's really clever for Meta to obviously have a stake within that because they can then maybe this is a stronger alliance and a stronger direction with where they want to take the different type of eyewears that they want to make. So they've done it with Oakley most recently. But the one, so this is giving us like an incredible signal that Mark Zuckerberg and Meta is really going full on into developing more different types of eyewears and different design. I think the one thing that when I saw this was like, this is problematic for Google because Luxottica makes, I don't want to put a number, but they make like 90% of all of the eyewear that, you can buy. And I was just thinking, like, what is Google going to be able to do? Like, I obviously don't know the terms of, and it wasn't disclosed, like the terms of Meta's, like, what would that imply? But I would just assume that Meta would have either exclusivity or will have, a say in who can use Luxottica eyewear to develop smart eyewear, which is, we know, a market that Meta as now Google are competing against. So I was just thinking,
Yeah. Well, it's definitely an arms race. I think the wearables industry and virtual or augmented reality is going to be pretty cutthroat. And I
Mhm.
think that Meta is definitely leading. They're closing all these contracts with the
Yeah.
bigger brands. I'm sure there's some exclusivity or at least exclusivity windows attached to those. So
Also,
they're
that kind of investment, like this is not just a partnership. This is now their own stake in the company. So if I was them, I would be like your top tier model, like Ray-Ban, I don't like Oakley, etc. And we're now the only brand, like the only partners that can do those kind of partnerships.
yeah.
Mm,
And I mean, like Google's a great example of someone that's a little bit behind, and
yeah.
also Apple. What's Apple gonna do? Like
I
they've got
well, the thing about Apple is that I feel like they've always created their own things. It's quite rare that they're doing those kind of like alliance partnership. So
But
I
I think
always
the problem is, like, if everyone's gonna wear glasses in society, we I it's tough to add Apple glasses. If
I
you're gonna
think no.
choose what you want to wear, you know what I mean? That's not a
I
brand that people are used to wearing on their face.
I disagree. I feel like if there is one tech company that can, branch out to create a cool pair of glasses, it is Apple because when it comes to design, they really know what they're doing. So I probably like I don't know, they didn't used to make watch and now the Apple Watch is probably like now the biggest I don't know, again, I'm speaking like without knowing the data, but it's the leading smartwear when it comes to those kind of watches. Uh,
Yeah,
so I
and look at
wouldn't
the
be
iPhone.
surprised.
I mean, they didn't make phones before, and now this is, like, sort of the phone of
Exactly. So
choice.
I
So
just feel like they were it's not so different and they really know about design where I would say like I think it was very smart for Meta to actually they don't do hardware. Like if you think about Meta and what
they
they did
acquire.
before, they've never done hardware before. And when they've done it with the MetaQuest, I think that was like a big investment already to begin with. So I thought that was quite smart for them to also not try to invest in like design creation and just
Yeah,
focus upon
you're
the tech.
right. No, that's a great point. I mean, yes, Meta would not be the company to figure out how to make glasses look cool.
That's
Apple
not
would
what they
be.
do. Like,
Yeah,
they have so many other stuff that they can do really well, but Apple, I feel like, would be the one that can crack that. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think I'm more conscious for Google because, again, Google is not one that I define as, "Ooh, they know about design, they can, create great
that's a good
eyewear."
point.
They need to have a partner to do that.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
We shall see. Jumping over to the last story today. This is all about a new cosmetic brand that's coming on the market called GodMode, and they're really focused around targeting female gamers and that whole community and market. And so this is a makeup brand. It's co-founded by the actress Chloe Grace Moretz and the pop star Rina Sawayama, and it's a really this cyberpunk style makeup line.
Okay.
And they're starting from scratch and they're creating this entire lore around this brand. So it's not like a makeup brand that is its own thing. It's a very specific cultural gaming focused special brand that's being built from scratch. They're creating a backstory. There's going to be immersive storytelling, augmented reality avatars, tons of collaborations.
Mhm.
And one thing I thought was cool, one of the highlighters is called Genesis Glow, and it mimics the blue light effect that computer screens give on gamers when they play. So it's really just leaning in and celebrating that culture, and they're really going after that sort of a brand storytelling from
Mhm.
scratch. So I thought this was fascinating. I don't know how it's going to be
Yeah.
accepted. Really curious to get your point of view on that.
But I feel like this is a market that's already very difficult, and we are, you know, there's really big players when it comes to the makeup markets, and I think it's quite rare when we see a new brand really thriving inside the space. So you need to have an angle that is really different or very strong. I don't know if this is the one here. And I don't feel like when you look at the design itself or the type of product, even looking at the palette, like the eyeshadow, it just, I don't know. It doesn't feel like anything that we haven't seen before. But maybe it's too soon. It's too soon to say. And maybe they'll do incredible, like with the network, etc. They'll do really incredible partnership, and this is when the brand might come to life. But from the get go, just looking at the product itself, I'm not ecstatic, I would say. And maybe because it's not appealing to like a specific, I'm not too sure what gamer like they're speaking to right now. And I think it's like putting again like gamers into one box when there's like, oh, there's one type of female gamer and this is it. And it's again going on like the futuristic style where I feel like there's a lot of different layers within those communities, and I think it could have been a little bit more targeted if you're gonna do a product specifically for that.
That's a good point. It does seem like a little micro specific of that
Well,
type
they
of
just went
gamer.
like, "Oh, it's gaming, so let's go metaverse, let's go
Cyberpunk,
galaxy, and let's go sci-fi," and it's just
right.
like, ugh.
That's a good point, unless that's like a just the lane they wanna stay in. They're not really going into traditional beauty, they're going into this lane. I don't know. It should but yeah, time will tell. But I do know they're going after the right target audience because, all of the beauty brands are going into this immersive space, and they're showing up,
Oh,
like
absolutely,
L'Oreal and Elf and everybody.
absolutely.
They're
But I
figuring
think
out how to speak to this new
correct.
audience, you
But I
know?
think what L'Oreal and Elf have done, and like many brands within L'Oreal have done, is that they've selected which community do they wanna speak to specifically, and then they've adapted the content for that community specifically. Or even L'Oreal has done IP partnership with like I don't know, they've done something like Kiehl's, they did a partnership with Genshin Impact, and that was
Mhm.
more like an IP partnership. So they've really carefully selected what was the audience that they were trying to reach and then think about strategically how to engage with that. Well, this feels a bit lost. But that's my opinion, and I think we'll see only what the time will tell.
Well, yeah, kick it over to the fans. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? It's the jury's out.
But
Um,
Nick,
but time to move on past the news.
exactly.
Let's go into the real time review. I'm super excited because this week I'm checking out ASIC's new VR game Disc. They created an entire new competitive esport in virtual reality and mixed reality. It's pretty awesome. And then we're gonna speak to the team that put that together. So without further ado, let's go to the real-time review.
Let's get into it.
Okay, it's time for real-time review, and today we're on location at the Sawhorse office here in LA, and I'm joined with my colleague and friend Keric Warton, who's our lead capture artist here at Sawhorse, and today we're going to be playing ASICS' new VR game, Disc. Keric, have you played this game before?
Only recently today. I'm really excited by it though. It's going to be really fun.
I've played it once today as well. It is a dope game. We're gonna jump in, but there are some stakes here. The winner is gonna win a new pair of ASICS shoes. How do you feel about that?
I could really use some new shoes.
Yeah, so can I. Let's go ahead, let's get our headsets on, and may the best man win.
Nick and Keric don MetaQuest goggles, preparing for the ultimate ASICS battle.
Okay, come on.
Set one begins. Nick gears up. His first disc sails past Keric, scoring the first point.
That's one. Keric, what was that?
Keric's up, he serves, and he scores!
Okay, all right, okay, shot fired. Calm down.
Nick unfortunately whiffed his next shot, and now Keric's up. Oh wow, with unfettered poise, Keric yet again scores on Nick.
Okay, all right.
The score stands at 2 Keric, 1 Nick, and Keric is serving again. And Nick can't quite fend him off.
This is brutal. Okay, all right, there's a learning curve in this game.
As we enter set 2, Keric is heating up, and Nick, the underdog, is now limber and excited and rearing to go.
This is pretty brutal. Okay, all right. I'm behind.
Set 2 has started with a heated back and forth. Discs fly, and they are defending their goals at a breakneck pace.
Boom! What's up? What's up?
Nick has scored on Keric.
There it is. Okay, come on. Let's go
Keric
again.
serves, hitting Nick with a behind-the-head serve. Truly a pro move.
Right through your hands, homie.
Oh, Keric, watch out! Incredible serve, Keric. A serve sails back and forth, and it slips past right into the net. Oh, that is brutal.
Okay.
Ooh, watch out, Nick. And he scores. Another point for Nick. We are really in for a treat heading into what could be a really close set 3.
Oh, that's in.
Oh, it appears I may have spoken too soon. Keric is back in action. That is another goal.
That's it. That's it.
Congratulations.
Okay, and that's game. I lost. Keric destroyed me in this match of Disc. I lost 2 out of the 3 rounds, the 2 right out the gate. I feel like on the first round, I was sort of finding my footing. The second round, I had it, and it was kind of neck and neck, but ultimately, my dude beat me. He's got some skills, clearly. What is your first reaction about this game? Like, what do you like about it?
I think it's really fun, you know, especially as like a fan of regular air hockey. I love just being in that VR environment, and it's like so much more visceral than just like air hockey, because you have to use your whole body. It feels like, and especially like the different kinds of moves you can do. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's fun and also a good workout, which I think was the whole point. So congratulations, you won some shoes.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's not every day you get to beat your boss at a video game and get some free shoes. So
I would definitely play this again. Keric, thank you, and let's go back to the show.
We are pleased today to have Joe Pace join us on today's episode. Joe leads corporate development at ASICS Ventures, where he builds new digital business units that help the brand reach and engage global audiences. His work focuses on creative, innovative experiences at the intersection of sports, technology, and culture, and we are excited to have him on the show to discuss their latest project, Disc. It's their very first experience on MetaQuest, merging immersive content and sport. Joe, it's lovely to have you on the show today. Welcome. First and foremost, I would love, because everyone that we talk to, specifically coming from brands, have very different backgrounds. So can you tell us, first and foremost, a little bit more about you and what you do at ASICS, but also about your background, and how did you come to lead this team?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Thank you for having me. So yeah, my background is varied, I would say. I consider myself a generalist, and I love that I get to be a generalist. It's always been kind of how I'm naturally wired. Tend to be more focused on a lot of things spread across a lot of different areas. And my background kind of has a bit of everything. Came up through
Mhm.
analytics and digital marketing after getting my MBA and learned a ton being in Hollywood doing pretty big
Yeah.
marketing campaigns for some pretty big movies. And coming out of that, I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and wanted to be entrepreneurial in my life. Started an online yoga business called Ice Water Yoga, which I led out in LA for many years, and enjoyed that greatly. It was a really nice break from the corporate world for a while, and also gave me the chance to actually deliver on some of these passions that I had both in the yoga space and in entrepreneurship. Ton of work. I know you know about production. It takes a lot to produce high quality content. So I learned a lot doing that, and um made every mistake in the book, which I think every first time entrepreneur does in some way. And found myself at ASICS at a time where I sold the company and was looking for something that kind of kept the same idea of helping people be physically well, mentally well, which I was experiencing on the yoga side of the world. And at a company like ASICS, who has this very shared mission that I have in my life to help people be physically active and mentally well, it felt like a really natural fit for me. I got to be entrepreneurial from day one at
Mhm.
ASICS. And since then have we can talk a little bit more about how the team has come together, but over the years, really earning trust, building small projects that have led to bigger projects, gaining trust with leadership, gaining trust and building relationships with people across the company to make big things happen. So very excited about Disc and very excited to talk about it with you today.
Awesome, and congrats on the launch of Disc. It's fantastic. I just played it. It was great. I was curious if you could talk about the game in general and sort of what players can expect from it.
Yeah. So Disc is a high-paced virtual sport. So as we talked about before the call, it's built from the ground up. It's something we invented. So we're really proud of the process to get to the point of launching the game, which took a lot of work. We've worked with some of the best people, best minds in the world to figure this out. And the game itself is um, rooted in experiences in VR gaming that are very familiar, but put together in a way that's very unique and very sport-like. When we were thinking about building in VR in general, we wanted to fill a gap. We didn't just want to build something just to build it. We wanted to actually solve a problem, which looking at the space, there are a lot of fitness focused games and a very robust fitness category, but nothing that really is definitively a sport and unabashedly calling itself a sport. That's really where we wanted to really fill a gap. And the sport itself is very straightforward. If you think about it from an air hockey perspective, like imagine you're inside a rectangular cube and you're basically playing air hockey. You're hitting a disc back and forth, a puck-like disc, and you're bouncing it off walls. You're hitting different types of shots. You're defending a goal, and the scoring and the gameplay should feel very intuitive. Where the disc is coming at you, you see a goal behind you. You're going to want to not let it go in the goal, but your ability to get it into the opponent's goal is going to depend on your skill, the shots you take, the strategy you use, and we really do want it to be something that anybody can pick up and will understand at face value, but also be able to get better over time and really start to have some really high expert level matches. So we talk more about that if you'd like, but that's Disc.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's definitely air hockey reminiscent. My opponent is a huge air hockey fan, and he destroyed me. And I think there's a correlation there between
Yeah,
his
I can see that. Yeah.
understanding.
And I think you took a really unique route where you created, like, you've done a different thing. You created your own game, your own sport. Can you tell us a little bit about what was that process to envision the brand also in this new format? And maybe what also led you to create this entirely new way of engaging with the brand in through this new sport?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. A lot of people don't know this, but ASICS is a Latin acronym, Anima Sana Incorpore Sano, sound mind in a sound body. A lot of people just say ASICS and don't really think about what it means, but yeah, that's what it means. And so that really is the through line across everything that we do at the company. We, of course, are known for our performance running footwear and other different types of footwear and apparel that we sell globally. In our brand, we have a number of sport ambassadors that are, um, top athletes in the world. But at the end of the day, really, it is about helping people be physically active to be well physically and mentally. And as a company, we are, of course, we observe and we see things happening and new trends emerging. And we saw esports and gaming taking off, and it continues to do so. And we're starting to see it become more recognized as competitive and sport-like, where people are coming into a single arena and having a competition that is sport, right? So looking back at the early 2020s, we saw that this trend was emerging, but if there really wasn't a natural place for us to inject the brand or build anything meaningful in the space that as it existed today or at the time, given people were typically, you know, on their PCs playing flat games. And so we observed that people, younger people were very much excited about gaming and digital in general, but there wasn't a natural place for us to play. So VR gave us a really insightful opportunity where we saw all these physically active games. You're in a digital space, you are gaming, being active, getting your heart rate up. But there was this, as I mentioned before, there was this gap, is this space missing where why isn't there a sport? Why isn't there a game that is calling itself a sport and building itself as a sport from the ground up, using what's working in VR, but putting it all together in a very unique way? So we wanted to be inventive, but we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. And that's sort of where we came together, looking at titles like Beat Saber, Supernatural, FitXR, these games that have people moving. How can we get people moving in a way that is more sport-like? And combining a lot of those ideas is kind of how we pulled it all together.
Well, it definitely feels like a sport. Physically, you get a great workout, and you're using your full range, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
you forget you're exercising. That was another insight for us is when you're playing sports, when you're in a pickleball match or a tennis match or a basketball pickup game, it's not about the heart rate. It's about scoring a bucket or stopping somebody from scoring. Or it's a
right, you're
totally
focused on
different
playing the
mindset.
game more
Exactly.
than the fact that you're
Exactly.
exercising. And yeah, speaking from experience, like I think I played 2 matches, I lost, and immediately I just wanted to play more. I wasn't like, okay, I'm done. Like I was very much like I want a rematch. I want to keep going.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
awesome. But yeah, so we understand why VR is a good home for this project that you created. But can you talk a little bit more about your target audience? Like, who are you trying to reach
Yeah.
specifically?
Yeah, specifically people who actively have headsets and are embracing VR today. It's a growing space. There's a ton of investment going into XR more generally. I know you got the Meta glasses on right now. I don't see that trend slowing down. Those are only going to get cooler over time. And so for us, we there are many people who are engaging with VR today, wearing headsets that have MetaQuest devices that are looking for experiences to get physically active in different ways. And so for us, we want to start where people are. We want to meet people where they are. And we are very much targeting people who are loving VR games today. And our process in sort of going to market has been very much rooted in that. We've built a very strong community on Discord and we want to be here for the long haul. So starting with the people who are already passionate, letting them see the process from the inside out, which we don't see a ton of brands doing. We wanted to give the people who care an insider's view and understanding that the development of a game is not straightforward. It's non-linear. There are turns and twists and things that unexpected stories that happen along the way, and they've had a front row seat, and they've been amazing for us to really test the game and get it to a point where it does feel like it's a game you want to continue playing. So it's a testament to our community and our passionate people who have been there from day one. We announced last
Yeah.
September, so they've been with us for a little while now, being very patient. So hopefully, as the space grows, Disc will grow, and more importantly, we will have an audience there that's ready to embrace whoever decides to join us on the journey.
Yeah. I think when we spoke about this project, I love the fact that you used a community around the game and had them included throughout the development. Can you and I think this is something that a lot of brands should really tap into a lot more because it is a new media. to develop for the brand. So I'd love to understand a little bit more about what was that process of finding those community members, engaging with them on Discord. What type of, I guess, how were they involved in the development, and I guess the feedback that you needed to then launch the game recently.
Yeah, I love it. So we started with just the ambition, right? Like knowing that this is what we wanted to do. This wasn't going to be a big splash when we launched it. We wanted to roll slowly into the launch and make sure that we have people validating all of our assumptions and not assuming we know everything. Like so that was kind of where we started. We're like, okay, we know we don't know everything. Let's bring people who actually do know something about this space as we continue to learn and develop. Yeah, so that started with the decision. And from there, we wanted to get some of the best in the business to also help us from a community perspective. So we recruited Sonia Haskins, who is an amazing community leader. She's been running the show for us in Discord and helping us connect across the space more generally. And I think again, back to this point of authenticity, Sung is a person who's been in the space for many years, is extremely passionate about the space, saw what we were doing, connected with it authentically. And so we said, wouldn't it be amazing if we had somebody like Sonia in our Discord and in our community more generally representing us? And then we were lucky enough for her to say yes. And she's been really taking an amazing lead on that. And so it started with getting the right, making a decision, finding the right people, and then committing. So for us, we launched our teaser trailer back last September around the MetaConnect conference with the full intention. Our main call to action was join our Discord. We don't have a game. We're going to have a game. But get in there, get talking. Let's get people excited. Give us some ideas. You can join our early access group. And we've been slowly expanding what we're doing in the Discord over time. But yeah, and then finally, just the process of testing the game. It's amazing to have. I mean, even the most like the things that seem obvious that you don't see, that people who have seen so many games can just look at it and be like, don't do that, or do this. Right? Like so many of those little things that have added up into a big aggregate of things. Yeah, we can talk more about that if you'd like, but really, I mean, it really is I'm so glad we made the decision and found Sonia, because downstream of that is now this really amazing community of people who have supported us for a long time now.
No, I thought that was such a smart move, and as you said, I think there's subtleties inside creating a game that if you've played so many similar VR games as well, that you wouldn't be able to pick up. So I think this is kind of shows as well with the experience that you created, that there is this level of detail that's put into it.
Yeah, and I think it's really innovative what you guys have done. A lot of brands have done, immersive marketing campaigns. That's just a one-off thing. It's just, you reach an audience and then you sunset it. You guys are going big and investing in the space, and you created a game for the community. It's still, to me, a marketing. It has a marketing angle to it. It's getting the brand out. What advice would you have to other brands that don't activate in this space, that just do traditional marketing in the traditional means?
Yeah, it's an awesome question. I have an opinion that may or may not be correct, but it is my own thought. I think in a lot of cases, as the world becomes more and more digital and content becomes more and more ubiquitous, specifically digital content, and it's in my mind very, very important to have entrepreneurial people within the organization who not only know how to build things that get attention, but build things that have business value. And so in our case, building Disc has been is a business. We do want to generate revenue and be profitable, and then reinvest those profits back into the game to make it better over time. And to me, the best marketing is marketing that is sustained and it retains audiences. And yes, you can do that with a long-standing campaign. There's sort of recurring characters and people that you can use over time. But imagine marketing as a means of not only building a message through a product, but sustaining an audience through that product as well. Digital businesses and digital services can do that, and then now expand the brand in ways and reach customers, reach users who you wouldn't be able to reach otherwise. So I'm sure there are a number of VR community members who wear ASICs. But as we continue to grow the disc brand and disc engagement, uh, theoretically that will improve the affinity towards the ASICS brand, and there's maybe a more a stronger customer, or at least a warmer lead for the ASICS brand more generally. But for us, if we can more importantly deliver on our brand mission, which is to help people achieve a sound mind and a sound body, perhaps through VR and through gaming, then we're happy to do that regardless of the shoe part as well.
I love that, and it's really about how do you communicate your brand message as opposed to like a specific campaign. And can you tell us like what is, as much as you can tell us actually, what is the long term play for those new kind of environment for ASICs? Are you going to release more game? Are you going to be in more platform, or like what's your long term, or at least vision for this?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so it's a we're very focused on disc. We do see disc as a product that can last a long time and can grow in its influence in the broader sporting space. And so, as opposed to being sort of spreading our bets across a number of different projects, we do want to make sure that we're concentrating our efforts in this first game and making sure that it is amazing and that people love it and that it can grow within its own brand and ecosystem. So that's going to be a starting point. And our goal and our North Star since the beginning has been helping people achieve a sound mind and a sound body through the game, but more practically on a if we can envision this being on an Olympic stage someday, where as the Olympics are exploring esports and trying to figure out exactly what they're doing, I don't know if this will end up being the case, but imagine disc is influential enough and has enough of a user base where it can be considered an Olympic sport, or at very least a global sport that's recognized by some international body or league, where people can potentially be pro disc players and can be athletes in a virtual space, with an audience, with live streaming, with all of the bells and whistles that already come with gaming, but in this sort of physical embodied experience that people can look up to and be physically active in gaming while being a legit athlete. So we're hoping to earn that. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some work, but vision wise, we would love to be an international sport.
Yeah, I would be a follower. So you have supporters on this end. You got fans. Um,
Yeah, cool.
so I imagine that there's a lot of marketing teams listening to this. They might see this and go, "Wow, these guys went all the way in. They made a game from scratch, and it's persistent." That seems a little overwhelming. Maybe they're not used to doing that. Can you talk about some of the big learnings? Maybe the
Yeah.
hard learnings that you went through in the process of putting this together.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's building a game is not for the faint of heart. I will say that it is challenging, and I understand why people maybe takes different paths. But in our case, I guess what we've learned is being committed to a vision is really the key. If you're going to do something big, that really does take a longer term commitment where you see the forest for the trees. It is something that can be something so much bigger than the short term. And you have to be willing to endure the challenges that come with that. And I do think it comes back to this sort of like anything worth anything worth doing isn't necessarily going to be easy. So you might need to roll up your sleeves and take on some challenges to make good things happen and cool things happen. I will say though that we've been very thoughtful about our level of investment and our focus at any given time with the project. And so I think validating ideas early and being honest with yourself if they're working or not working, and having measurable results that you can look to say we're on the right path or we need to cut this thing, I think is going to save a lot of people a lot of time and a lot of headaches. As I mentioned, with our starting with our community, that is really a lot of where that came from. Was of course we wanted to be authentic and reach the existing audience in an authentic way, but we also want to make mistakes very quickly so that we can improve them quickly and not go to market with something that's based on our own false assumptions, right? So, I would say my biggest advice that I would take away and would share with anybody is make small mistakes early that represent the bigger bets you are hoping to take in the future. And as those smaller bets become validated, you will have much more confidence making bigger bets.
Yeah. and a huge congrats to your brain team for seeing the vision. I think there's a few teams that also don't see like their product in a digital form. So the fact that you had also a collaborative team in like different aspects of the business, I think that's what also like drives success in those kind of businesses and those kind of projects. Thank you so much, Joe. I think that was such an insightful interview for us to deep dive into a little bit more like what it was like to launch this project. I really appreciate your time, and I thought this conversation was so interesting to understand how this came to life, and really excited to see where how it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you for having me. This has been awesome, and it's so nice to now talk about it. We've been in the shadows for so long. We can actually
Yes.
be out here and just like tell the story.
Your your
It's
Discord server must be so ecstatic to see it finally come to life.
finally, yeah. And for anybody who's interested, we're live on the MetaQuest App Store. So you can visit disc.asics.com. We have a link to the Quest App Store there. You can just search Disc. If you have a MetaQuest device, you can play Disc, and feel free to join our Discord as well. As I mentioned, we have a pretty cool group there. We have very positive vibes and very positive people in there. I think whether you download Disc or not, I think you'd probably like just hanging out in there. So if you're a fan of VR and gaming and movement as it relates to VR and gaming, at a very least, join our Discord and check it out. But such an honor to be here, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate the time.
Awesome, Joe. Thanks, man. All right, let's go back to the show.
That was I like again, that was such an interesting interview with Joe. I'm so excited that we got to speak to him. I thought it was really like the one thing that really struck me is their approach and their long-term approach by, they've been developing this game for so long, and then having this community and this Discord where they got feedback to begin with to then be able to like launch it. I thought that was like incredibly smart for them not to do something, a flash in the pan without really doing the homework on like how to engage within those platforms. So a big shout outs to their team because they've definitely, in my opinion, done like the right things for launching this game. But what was your key takeaway from this interview, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive to see what they did, and I love how they're basically taking an extension of the ASICS brand mission, which essentially is to help people achieve a healthy and fulfilling life, both physically and mentally, through sport and movement. And this game is definitely an extension of that. And it's inspiring when you see a brand put their money where their mouth is. Like this is not just traditional marketing or advertising. This is like building a game that is true to the brand ethos and bringing that game to market. That's a big achievement. That excites me, and I would love to see more brands lean in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, should we move on to the best time in the episode, which is what's played out this week?
Your favorite part?
No.
What is played out?
I've got mine. You go
You got
fast.
you want me to go first? Okay,
Yes, you
so
go
my
fast.
played out, and we touched on this earlier in the episode about Gen AI. Gen AI content that's being created. Uh, I don't know if you're tracking the new Google VO3 Gen AI software. It's amazing. It's starting to look more realistic. It's awesome. I just want to comment on the fact that a lot of these big companies like Google and Meta are trying to turn this into an automated ad tech solution. So essentially, marketers can go into the platform and say, I want an advertisement about fishing and it should do this. And here's my logo. And then they can buy media against it and they just run it. So in that scenario, they're going to put a lot of people out of business, right? Like you don't need creative executives, you don't need agencies, you don't need production companies, right? And it's like, okay, in theory, but I think that mentality is a little played out because what are they actually going to generate? I have a feeling that the content is not going to be that compelling. And we live in an era that is all about authenticity. Younger generations crave authenticity. It has to feel real. They don't want to be sold to. And I would argue that that model is fine if you're just like, here's a picture of a printer, buy it for this money. That's gonna work. That's gonna work for this. But real storytelling and real brand messaging that people connect to and on a soulful level, you still need humans building that stuff, in my opinion. So it's played out that all of our ad and marketing materials will be created by
Yeah.
computers.
I I mean, I think I agree with you. I think I like that is definitely a play now. I was just thinking like when you said that I feel like there's a lot of content right now if it's just a still life of a specific product. I think this is where probably we're gonna see like you're not gonna need a whole production team to be able to do still life, but for like really big campaigns, like I've played around with VO3 and it's not that straightforward. Like it is very easy,
Hmm.
but I think you still need a creative director to be able to give you like what is the video going to look like. You now need, yeah, maybe it's not a designer, maybe it's not a photographer, but you still need someone to like create those prompts and like really learn how to play with those tools. So I think it's gonna you're gonna have I don't see a world outside of like those still life, which is like backdrop. This is my product and that's it.
Yeah.
Then I don't see the rest of it being completely automated and on its own. I don't see someone like an account manager in a brand or like a marketer doing that. And I still think this is going to be done by agencies in some way, depending on like the complexity of it.
Yeah, agreed. It's
Yeah.
just the what's played out is the oversimplification.
Oh,
When you're saying
100%.
and
It's not
Meta
that
stepping up
simple.
saying like, this is just the way it's gonna be. It's gonna be so easy.
Yeah, yeah,
Just do
yeah.
this. It's like that will solve 10% of your problems, not 100,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
What's
Absolutely.
played out for you?
So for me, it's a very, first world problem thing. But I was obviously in Paris over the weekend, and I think something that I always forget about Paris, and this is again like not again first world problem, but the train or the tube that you have there, it's not that low, so you can have Wi-Fi all throughout. And what's played out is actually the London tube that doesn't have any Wi-Fi. So you can't, and this is why, in a way, that so many people are gaming inside the tube because you don't have any connections. So everyone is on Candy Crush or like Clash of Clans and all of these different games because you can't do anything else or you read a book. You play games or you read a book inside the tube. But I think it's about time that we get Wi-Fi on our trains. That is my goal.
100% played out. Yeah,
Very,
Wi-Fi and
very first world problem, but that is my big ask.
yeah. Well, look, I mean, there's cell phones in every single country around the world. Everyone has one in their hand, right?
Yeah.
Like being connected is just everyone assumes that it's a right. Um, you know, but I agreed. I think we just need more Wi-Fi everywhere.
Yeah.
It's weird when you go offline. It's the direction we're moving
So
in.
annoying. I don't know what to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could just think about your life. Maybe you should
I
meditate,
should
Alban.
contemplate. Yeah,
That
exactly.
I
Meditate.
think whenever, yeah, that's what I do. When like I go offline, I'm starting to freak out and like want to get on. I just go the opposite direction. I just turn my phone off and
You're
put it in my
right.
pocket,
I
and I
should
just
just let
go,
it go. I should just let
yeah,
it
this
go.
is a test to you and the listeners. After this, turn off all your devices and sit with your thoughts for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and I bet
Exactly.
it will freak out. You will not be
I'm
used to doing
my
that.
journey is an hour. I have to be meditating for an hour. So that's really big. That's a big effort.
There you go. Just goes in.
Mhm.
But that was a dope episode. We're excited for next week. We've got some surprises for you, and I hope everybody has a great week.
Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, for listening to the episode. We'll see you next week. Edward, read us out.
Peace.
And that was Brands in Play. Thank you for joining the podcast where we explore immersive marketing and the people who are leading it. Co-hosted by Albane, Prioux, and Nick Hill. Our show today was produced by myself, Edward Regu, with creative direction by Joey Jeda and Javad Kazmi, and audio engineering by Somran Kiyo. Be sure to join us every week for brand new episodes.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views, policies, or positions of host employers. The information shared during this podcast is based on personal experience and publicly available information and is intended for informational purposes. Any references to specific platforms, companies, or partnerships are made in a personal capacity and do not imply endorsement, partnership, or official association with